Are you struggling to trust God? Perhaps you've been waiting on God for so long that you wonder if He's forgotten about you. Well, in today's video, we're going to answer the question, can I really trust God? Well, hey, my friend, in case we haven't met yet, my name is Kris Reece, and if you are looking to defeat your devils, grow in faith, and become everything that God purposed you to be, go ahead and click that subscribe and notification button so you don't miss a thing. We all have seasons of doubt. I don't care how long you've been walking with the Lord, there comes a time where you say, I believe, but help my unbelief. And I confess that there are times that I still struggle to trust God. I want to have the faith of Peter, you know, that kind of faith that steps out onto the water. But instead, I find myself more like the father of the boy possessed by a demon spirit. You see, in Mark chapter 9, this man had brought his son to Jesus for help, and his son had been possessed by a spirit that robbed him of his speech. And he went on to share how this demonic spirit causes him to constantly convulse. So join with me in Mark chapter 9, starting in verse 20. So they brought him. When the spirit saw Jesus, it immediately threw the boy into a convulsion. He fell to the ground and rolled around, foaming at the mouth. Jesus asked the boy's father, how long has this been like this? From childhood, he answered. It often throws him into the fire or water to kill him. But if you can do anything, take pity on us and help us. If you can, said Jesus, everything is possible for the one who believes. Immediately, the boy's father exclaimed, I do believe, but help me overcome my unbelief. And maybe you too are saying, I believe, but help my unbelief. So let's talk a moment about why we struggle with trusting God. I believe it's because we naturally struggle with discrepancies. Now, I'm not saying that there's discrepancies in God, but hear me out. If your husband says that he loves you, but then ignores you, there's a disconnect. There's a discrepancy. Something's not matching up. If a friend makes a snide comment but says it in a loving tone, there's a discrepancy. And now you're left with an inner conflict. How do I resolve this? They said one thing but did another. Are they good or are they bad? Have they made a mistake or did I? And your mind starts reeling. And I believe that the same thing can be true for our trust in God. When we read that He loves us, but our hearts don't feel it, there's a discrepancy. When we hear that God will provide for all of our needs, but there's no money in the bank, there's a discrepancy. When we're told that those who wait on the Lord will renew their strength, but we feel at our weakest, there's a discrepancy. And our minds don't like inconsistencies. Discrepancies rattle our trust. So how do we resolve these discrepancies? I want to trust God, but I struggle. And if you've struggled with an accounting error or an inconsistency in someone's story, you know that you can't just ignore it. You can't just tell yourself to think a certain way and it'll all be good. No, there's a discrepancy and it needs to be resolved. So today I want to talk to two groups of people, my thinkers and my feelers. You see, thinkers are more analytical. They lean more towards problem solving and task management. Thinkers say, if I don't see it, it's not real. Thinkers in their strengths can apply discipline to what they know and push past their feelings. That's assuming they're even in touch with their feelings. And a great quality to have when your feelings are running amok. However, their weakness is a prove it to me mindset. And they will not open their minds to the possibilities unless they see it. Now, feelers are more relational and sense-oriented. They lean towards more social engagement and connection. They can be more spontaneous and creative. And feelers, for them, everything is, well, you guessed it, feeling-based. If I don't feel God, He's not real. And feelers in their strengths have good emotional connections and heightened senses. However, in their weakness, their feelings could be given the driver's seat and run them in circles. And if you're having trouble figuring out which you are, I want to encourage you to listen to your words. Those who are more cerebral will say things like, I think, or my thoughts are, while feelers, you guessed it, will say, I feel, even when describing a thought. You see, thinkers will share their thoughts to describe their feelings, and feelers will describe their feelings to share their thoughts. And a rare few have equal access to both. However, the enemy is an equal opportunity attacker. So if you're a thinker, the enemy is going to attack you in your thoughts, the what ifs, the if onlys, the shoulda, coulda, wouldas. And if you're a feeler, the enemy is going to attack you in your feelings, past hurts, wounds, failures, offenses, and the like. If you are a thinker, my friend, you are not alone. In the Bible, you'll find that you are in good company with many thinkers that struggled in their faith. One I'm thinking of right now is doubting Thomas. Thomas could not fathom in his mind how it was possible that Jesus was raised from the dead. No way, he said. I got to see it to believe it. Look at that. Being a disciple of Jesus doesn't automatically make you a faith giant. And here's what I found fascinating. Scripture tells us that Jesus appeared after his resurrection, and he did so just for Thomas. Now leave it to Jesus to help us in our unbelief. If you are a feeler, don't worry, you too are in good company. Job's wife was a feeler. And in the book of Job, Job was a righteous man under attack by the devil, and his wife watched her husband in agony as his entire body was covered with painful boils. And his wife said to him, "Are you still trying to maintain your integrity? Curse God and die." And although it may seem like Job's wife's response to his condition was totally callous, many of us can understand her heartbreak. Her feelings took over. Watching someone we love with a debilitating illness can make us feel helpless, fearful, and sometimes even angry, even at God. Her comment revealed her deep hurt and exposes the feelings that we harbor in our hearts when our hope begins to fade. Now, please understand that the descriptions that I gave are gross generalizations. But whether you are a thinker or a feeler, it can be difficult to trust God when it seems or feels like all hell is breaking loose in your life. Maybe you're saying, I really want to trust God, but how? Well, let's talk about a few ways that you can grow your trust in God, whether you are a thinker or a feeler. Number one, get to know Him. How can you trust someone you don't know? Yes, read His Word, but do it to get to know Him. Look to understand His heart, His nature, His character. When I met my husband, I got to know some of the things about him, where he lived, the foods he liked, what he did for fun, but it took spending time with him to get to know him, his heart, his character, his nature. I know my husband. And if anyone came up to me and accused my husband of doing something immoral or illegal, I would know they're lying or mistaken. How? Because I know him. I don't have to know the circumstances or the situation. I know him, and I know that that's not something he would do. And the same is true for God. You see, despite our circumstances or situations, if you know the character of God, then no matter what you're going through, you know that He is still good and He has your back. Number two, find the proof. To find the proof means that we take a moment to recall the times before where God had come through for us in the past. Now, this may sound easier for the thinker, but it's a challenge for both. You see, my feelers will say, but I don't feel it. And that's okay, because you would do well to go by what you know over what you feel in those moments. And if, as a thinker or a feeler, you can't seem to find any proof in your life that God can be trusted, glean off of someone else's life. Who do you know that God has blessed? Recall what God has done for them and then apply it to you. Now, I don't mean that God is going to do the same thing for you as He did for them, but God is no respecter of persons. If He showed Himself faithful to someone else, He's going to do it for you. Number three, track the traps. Perhaps you've had some challenging experiences in your life. I get it. This life can be rough sometimes, and it can cause you to question a lot, including God. And that's where the enemy lies in wait. He looks for an opportunity to attack you at your greatest point of weakness. Just when you're feeling the most vulnerable or thinking the worst outcome, bam, he hits you with that trust question. Can you really trust God? He did it with Eve. Did God really say that? And once we take that bait, our negative thought or our feelings take over. My friend, I want to encourage you to cut him off before he gets too far. Oftentimes our thoughts and our feelings feel almost too embarrassing or overwhelming to express, so we keep them inside. But when we keep them in darkness, they grow like fungus. Instead, learn to track the traps. In tracking the traps, you actually journal what's going on in your head and in your heart. So if you're a thinker, you would do well to monitor your thoughts and track your feelings. Write down the thoughts that are bouncing around in your mind, and one by one, track the feelings that are associated with those thoughts. And if you're a feeler, you would do well to monitor your feelings and track your thoughts. Write down all of your feelings and then think about what you were thinking about prior to that feeling. Romans 12:2 reminds us that if we want to live a transformed life, we have to renew our minds. And in order to renew your mind and change your thoughts or your feelings, you must first recognize the ones that actually need renewal. Some say, I don't know how I feel. Others say, I have no idea what I was thinking. That feeling just happened. Well, my friend, it actually didn't. And I believe that if you want to grow your trust in God, you must first understand the toxic thoughts and feelings that are distancing you and distracting you from trusting Him. And if you're struggling to renew your mind, I want to tell you about a course that I've created. It's called Rethink. You see, Rethink walks you through a 4-step process to control your mind and transform your life. My friend, this is such a common problem, especially in the body of Christ, that I reached a point where instead of repeating myself to all of my clients, I created this course so you can now have easy access to these 4 steps. You can say goodbye to spiraling thoughts and say hello to peace of mind. My friend, it is time to take your mind back. And for a limited time, I want to give you access to this course at $50 off. This is my gift to you. Normally, it's a $97 course. You can now gain access for a limited time for $47. So I will go ahead and include a link to the course as well as my coupon code below. So check that out when we're finished here. So to answer the question, can I really trust God? Yes, my friend, you sure can. He is the same yesterday, today, and forever, and His love and His plan for your life has not changed. So which are you? Are you a thinker or are you a feeler? Let me know in the comments below. Well, my friend, if you are struggling in your faith or want to grow in your faith, I want to invite you to grab a copy of our free 5-day Mountain Moving Faith Devotional. This is my gift to you because I believe that you too have mountain moving faith on the inside of you. I will go ahead and include a link in the description section below. Well, that's all the time that we have for today, my friend. Until next time, remember, all things are possible with God. Thank you for watching Christian Life TV. Remember to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Also, help us to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ and build believers all around the world. Make a one-time donation or become a monthly partner with Kris Reece Ministries by clicking on the donate link now.